If you had the chance to change your life forever, would you even recognize it? That was the first line of the letter. A letter I almost didn't open. I was standing in the tiny kitchen of my one-bedroom apartment in Austin, Texas, holding a pile of junk mail I had scooped out of the mailbox. Credit card offers, cable subscription flyers, and one heavy envelope with no return address. It was thick, almost unnervingly so, like it contained something more than just paper. I should have thrown it away. God knows I had bigger problems. Rent was late, my freelance gigs were drying up, and I had just gotten off a call with my mom, where I pretended everything was fine. Fine. What a lie. But something made me stop. Maybe it was the way the envelope felt warm in my hand, or maybe it was the memory of my grandmother's words, spoken years ago. Sometimes, life taps you on the shoulder. If you ignore it, it'll walk away. I tore it open with my thumb. Inside was a letter, typed in clean, sharp font, and a ticket. Not a plane ticket or a concert ticket. No, it was something stranger, an invitation to a private meeting at an address in downtown Austin. No sender name. No phone number. Just a time, 6 p.m. Tonight. You are being offered a unique opportunity, the letter read. A chance to open a door most never get to see, let alone walk through. Elon Musk has selected you. I laughed aloud. Elon Musk? Selected me? Surely a scam. Maybe an elaborate marketing ploy. I set the letter down and made myself a cup of cheap coffee, trying to shake off the absurdity. But even as I stirred in the powdered creamer, something gnawed at the edges of my mind. What if? What if this was real? At 5:30 p.m., against all logic, I found myself nervously pacing outside the address on the letter, a sleek, understated building with mirrored windows. No signs. No crowds. Just a single security guard who nodded at me like he was expecting me. "You're here for the meeting?" I nodded, too stunned to form words. He handed me a small badge with just a number on it, 27. "Take the elevator to the 12th floor." When the elevator doors slid open, it was like stepping into another world. The carpet was so plush it muffled my footsteps. Soft lights glowed from recessed ceilings. And standing there, talking quietly with a woman in a gray suit, was the man himself. Elon Musk. He wasn't surrounded by cameras or sycophants. No fanfare. Just him, in a simple black jacket, jeans, and a slight, almost boyish smile. He looked up and saw me. "You must be 27, he said. I nodded, throat dry. "Good. We don't have much time." The meeting room was shockingly small. Just a round table, 2 chairs, a pitcher of water. Elon gestured for me to sit. "You're probably wondering why you're here," he said, leaning back casually. I nodded again. I couldn't seem to stop nodding like an idiot. "Let me be clear," he said, his voice soft but steady. "This isn't about a job. Or money. Or fame. It's about what you're willing to believe about yourself." He let that hang in the air. See, most people live their entire lives within boundaries they never chose. They inherit limitations from their parents, teachers, society. Invisible walls that shrink their dreams to fit a realistic life. He poured himself a glass of water, not offering one to me, and somehow, I respected that. "But every so often," he continued, "someone is given a door. A real door. A chance to step out of the cage. Not everyone takes it." He looked directly at me then, and it felt like he was looking through me. "You have 3 hours to decide." He slid a small, silver card across the table. "This card will give you access to a project I'm launching," he said. "Something off-grid. Something that won't make the news, not yet, anyway. But it will change lives. Maybe even save them." I stared at the card. It was blank except for a tiny engraving, a 37. "If you accept," he said, "you'll leave tonight. No time to go home, no time to pack. It's all or nothing." "And if I don't?" I croaked. He smiled, not unkindly. Then you go back to your life. No judgment. No second chance. The clock on the wall ticked loudly in the silence that followed. Why me? I whispered. Elon's gaze softened. Because you haven't given up yet, he said simply. Even when you told everyone you had. Even when you lied to your mom today. My breath caught in my chest. He knew. He knew everything. Hope, he said, standing up, is the most subversive force in the universe. When the world tries to make you small, hope says, not today. He walked to the door and paused, hand on the knob. The elevator will leave in 3 hours. If you want in, be there. If not, no hard feelings. He slipped out the door, leaving me alone with my heartbeat pounding in my ears. I stared at the silver card. I stared at the clock. 2 hours, 59 minutes. Tick. Tock. The weight of the card in my palm was almost unbearable. It felt alive, buzzing with possibilities and fear. 2 hours and 58 minutes. I stumbled back into the elevator and rode down to the lobby. The cool night air slapped my face as I stumbled into the street, heart pounding. What the hell am I doing? I muttered to myself. I wandered the streets of Austin, my mind spinning. Every rational part of me screamed, go home. This is crazy. But another part, the part that had brought me here, whispered, what if? I thought about my life. The missed chances. The half-lived dreams. The countless nights lying awake, wondering if I'd ever matter. If there was something more than just surviving. I ended up sitting on a park bench, watching the city breathe around me. A little girl walked by, holding her mother's hand, skipping with a joy so pure it hurt to look at. I remembered being that free once. When had I forgotten how to believe? 2 hours left. I pulled out my phone and opened my notes app. I started a pros and cons list. Pros. Opportunity of a lifetime. Could change everything. Elon Musk freaking picked me. Cons. Might be a scam. Might lose everything. Might be dangerous. My fingers hovered over the cons list. Yeah, it could all go wrong. Spectacularly wrong. But hadn't playing it safe already gotten me nowhere? 1 hour and 30 minutes. I stood up. Screw it, I whispered. I headed back toward the building. Every step felt heavier than the last. My heart beat so loudly I was sure passers-by could hear it. Fear clung to me, thick and suffocating. At the building's entrance, the security guard gave me a knowing nod. You're back, he said simply. I showed him the silver card. Elevator's ready, he said. I stepped into the elevator. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't look back. The elevator doors whispered shut, and for a moment, the world outside vanished. It was just me, my racing heart, and the gentle hum of ascent. When the doors opened, I didn't step back into the plush 12th floor hallway. No. Instead, I found myself facing a narrow corridor lit with soft blue lights. A woman in a dark navy suit, her hair pulled into a tight braid, greeted me with a nod. Welcome, she said, her voice calm, almost melodic. Follow me. I obeyed without question. We moved through the hallway until we reached a small hangar tucked behind the building. There, waiting under dim industrial lights, was a sleek, black SUV. The woman opened the back door and motioned for me to enter. Where are we going? I asked. She smiled slightly. To the beginning. Cryptic. Of course. As the vehicle sped through Austin's side streets, I stared out the tinted windows, watching familiar landmarks blur into obscurity. Soon we were outside city limits, heading into the open Texas countryside. The farther we went, the quieter it became. After about an hour, the SUV pulled off the road and rolled to a stop in front of a massive, unmarked facility surrounded by high fences and motion-detecting lights. A private compound. The woman turned to me. From this point forward, everything changes. I swallowed hard. Inside, the facility was a whirlwind of quiet activity. People in lab coats and smart uniforms moved with purpose, their faces lit with the kind of fire I'd only ever seen in Dreamers and Madmen. I was ushered into a room where Elon Musk stood, casually leaning against a table covered in blueprints and holographic projections. "Glad you made it," he said. "Not everyone does." He pointed to a chair. "Sit. Let's talk." I sat. Elon gestured at the blueprints. "This is Project Dawn. It's not about building another Tesla or SpaceX. It's about rebuilding hope, one community at a time." He tapped on a holographic map. Dots of light scattered across the U.S., tiny towns, forgotten cities, places left behind by progress. "We are creating autonomous, sustainable communities," he explained. "Places where technology and humanity coexist, not compete. No politics. No bureaucracy. Just solutions." He turned those electric blue eyes on me. "And you are going to help build the first one." I blinked, stunned. "Me? I'm just..." "You're exactly who we need," he interrupted gently. "Because you know what it's like to almost give up. You know what it's like to be overlooked. And that's exactly why you'll fight for this." A deep silence fell between us. Then he smiled. "Welcome to the real work." The next hours blurred into movement, signing NDAs, undergoing rapid training sessions, meeting others who had been selected. A motley crew of dreamers, coders, builders, and thinkers from every imaginable background. And as the night deepened, I realized something profound. I was no longer waiting for my life to begin. It had already started. The first few months inside Project Dawn were some of the hardest and the most exhilarating of my life. We lived in repurposed modular homes on the edge of the build site. Woke up with the sun, worked until stars claimed the sky. There were days I thought my muscles would give out, nights I questioned every choice that brought me here. But something inside me had shifted. Every wall I built, every solar panel I installed, every system we tested, it wasn't just for me. It was for the people who would one day call this place home. People who needed a second chance at life, just like I had. One evening, Elon visited the site. No big announcement, no media circus. Just him, walking among us, laughing, asking questions, rolling up his sleeves. He sat next to me on a half-built garden bench. "You know why you're still here?" he asked. I shrugged, too tired to guess. "Because you chose yourself. Most people wait for permission their whole lives. You didn't." Those words sank deep into my soul. It wasn't Elon who had changed my life. It was me. I had said yes. I had walked through the door. The day we finished building the first self-sustaining home, we held a small ceremony. No grand speeches. Just a few dozen of us standing together, watching the lights flicker on for the first time. And I realized this was more than a job. It was a rebirth. I wasn't the lost, uncertain person who had hesitated in a dingy apartment kitchen anymore. I was a builder of worlds. And it all started with one terrifying, beautiful choice: to believe. Opportunities rarely look the way we expect. Sometimes, they come wrapped in fear and uncertainty. But belief in yourself is the ultimate game changer. No one can give it to you, and no one can take it away. Real growth begins outside your comfort zone. Risk is not the enemy, fear is. You are the author of your own story, and waiting for someone else to rescue you is the slowest form of defeat. Building something greater than yourself gives life meaning. When you serve others, you ultimately find yourself. To keep your momentum alive, I highly recommend two transformative books: The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday, which teaches you how to turn trials into triumphs just like the great minds of history, and Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance by Angela Duckworth, a powerful guide showing that determination often matters more than raw talent. Both books changed my mindset forever, reminding me that perseverance and purpose are far more important than luck or circumstance. If this story stirred something inside you, a spark, a whisper, a longing, don't ignore it. Choose yourself. Say yes to the scary door. Step into the unknown. And if you're ready to build the life you were meant for, start by picking up one of the books above. Let them be your guide. Your future is waiting. All you have to do is walk through the door.